Hello, crypto world. Welcome to the Chart Historian. My name is Justin, and I will be your host. So today I am looking at the Bitcoin chart, and I'd like to throw out a few different possibilities, at least the way I see things potentially playing out. I made a previous video like this, so I will basically continue on from where I left off on that video. Now, before we go any further, I have a thesis, and it says that in a correction, Bitcoin produces one of two corrective structures. I labeled them pattern A and pattern B. So pattern A essentially goes up, makes an initial peak, comes crashing back down, does a retrace, and from that retrace it does three waves down to a capitulation point. At that capitulation point, pattern A does a V bottom, whereas pattern B is basically the same, but instead of doing a V bottom, it does a bounce. I believe we are in a pattern B, so this is a pattern B playing out. So let me give you a quick synopsis of a few different ideas that I threw out on my previous video. So one is that this is wave 1, this is wave 2, and if you notice, wave 1 has this intermediate low. This potentially, I theorize, could be also an intermediate low. So this would be wave 1, wave 2. They both have intermediate lows. So from here, we would pull back up and work on wave 3, which would go even lower than it is now. The other one I threw out was that if you look at a previous V pattern correction, and you throw that fractal on here, I'm not focusing on this part, I'm focusing on this part here, although I have to say if you align it, this part does actually match. So I theorized that this potentially could be wave 3 and it could decline, which it actually did, it declined. Now, I'm going to present an argument against this being the end of the Bitcoin correction, and based off of this fractal, in the scale of it, I theorize that it could be a decline, like a 70-ish% decline. Well, it currently is 70%-ish already, so we have met that target right there. So we're at 73.32. Could be a little less, could be a little more. So we met that, but now I'm going to present an argument why I don't believe that this is the bottom. If you go back to that fractal I used, okay, so here's that fractal I just showed you, and here's the way it really looks. So here you have your initial peak, it comes crashing down, you have wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, and then you have that distinctive bounce that makes the B pattern a B pattern. So if you examine the wave 2 and wave 3, there's actually a theme being repeated here. So it does one bounce, it does another bounce, and then it does another bounce that's not as high as the middle bounce, and from that third bounce, you get the decline all the way down to the next low point. So, and at this point, you have bounce 1, bounce 2, and then a small bounce again, 3, which brings it down to the capitulation point. So we see that theme being played out here. Now, let's go back to where we are today. Okay, so here we are today, and here we have a potential pattern also playing out. You have one bounce, you have this other kind of split bounce thing, and then this last bounce, this third one, instead of on the previous pattern, it didn't go as high, but on this one it went higher. So I theorized in my previous video that maybe this was that playing out, but it never did. It never went and made a higher bounce like this, which one of my theories was if it did play out something like this, it would clearly be the third wave down. The waves here, they're very distinctive. There's one, there's two. The start of a wave goes kind of sideways and up, where it makes a kind of a separate entity of sorts compared to just this intermediate low, and then this is basically an attachment which goes down to another low. It's still part of the same structure here. So to me, this is looking basically like a repeat of this, which if that is the case, then we might see it pull up somewhere maybe around here, I don't know, and basically do a version of this, a repeat of this right here, down here. So if you took something like this and basically pasted it here, that brings it around $10,000-$11,000. So as far as a decline goes, that would roughly be around an 80-ish% decline. Here it says 83.90. Could be, I don't know, anywhere in the 80s really. We have a previous historic example of Bitcoin declining 87%. We have another one. These are pattern Bs that I'm talking about, where it goes to 93%. Another one that goes to 72. It is. I can't. Anyways, so this is a potential possibility. One other way to look at this is if you put this on a month candle and then you throw on some moving averages. So this red moving average here is a 20-month moving average. The green one is a 50-month, and this is a 100-month. So if you zoom in to where it first started, so Bitcoin, there was only one moving average on a monthly time frame here, and that was the 20-month moving average, and it, of course, it went to it and it bounced off of it. As this thing further developed, the second 50-month moving average came into play, and of course it crashed through that 20 and went straight to the 50. And this right here, folks, is a pattern B, by the way. So it went and actually went through it, bounced back up, went through it again. This was that distinctive B bounce right there, and then from there it moved on back up. So with the introduction of a new monthly moving average, Bitcoin goes to that. It tests it. So now we have this 100-month moving average, and will we see Bitcoin test it? So far, that's been the theme. When a new monthly moving average shows up, it decides to test it. So are we looking at something like that? And if we do, I think that lends credibility to this fractal that I just pasted on here that bring it down to around 10, 11, could be $9,000 Bitcoin. That would be, it would be a normal historical event, put it that way, that Bitcoin would go down and test this 100-month moving average. From there, it would bounce and then start its recovery. Well, I hope this video was helpful. I hope it brought potentially some clarity. If so, it'd be much appreciated if you hit that thumbs up button. You can also hit that notification button, that little bell, and you'll be notified of when I put out new content. I put out content on a regular basis. I'm a new channel, so any help I can get with likes and follows it's really greatly appreciated. You can also follow me on Twitter at Chart Historian. One other thing to add is I am not a financial advisor, so nothing I say here should be construed as financial advice. Well, I hope you catch my next video. Have a great day, and bye for now.